All righty. Hello, everybody. It says we are
Hi.
live here today. If you can hear me, then say llama in the chat so we know that you guys can hear us and we are live and good to go. Welcome to our demo this evening. I'm looking for some llamas. I have someone already in from Vancouver. Welcome. Someone from New Zealand. Welcome. Love to see those in the chat. Welcome to our demo today. If you can hear me, type llama in the chat and we know we are good to keep going. Don't want you guys to miss anything. All right, llama, yay! Welcome, my name is Anna. I will be your host this evening or morning, whatever it is for you. We have Kerrilyn Cheah with us today, and she is going to be doing some wonderful watercolor florals for us, talking about highlights and shadows. It's going to be really awesome, so thank you for joining. Just a reminder, this is a demo, not a step-by-step tutorial. That's for our mini workshops, which I'll talk more about later. But Kerrilyn will be also hosting a mini workshop with us, which is going to be awesome. So if you love that step-by-step process, please join us for that. I will pop that link in the chat for you. If you guys have questions during our demo tonight, please type question in all caps so I can see them clearly, and I will be passing those along to Kerrilyn as she is painting with us today. So question, all caps, and then follow that with the question. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. We love to make sure and remind you guys about our demos. So if you haven't already, you can subscribe and we will send you notifications for when we have our next demo. And our next one is actually tomorrow, Eastern Standard Time, 10 a.m. And that is with Nina Hildago, and she is doing a miniature wreath in watercolor. That one sounds so cute and fun. I hope you guys join in. Well, I am going to let Kerrilyn take it away. We have a lot of fun things planned for you tonight. So Kerrilyn, would you like to introduce yourself?
All right. Hi, everyone. I'm Kerrilyn. And thank you, everyone, for joining in today to watch me paint some florals. Just to give you an introduction, I started painting for about 4 years ago. And this media really caught my attention a lot because it gives a very soothing feeling when you paint. And, watercolor is something that is not easily controlled. And it gives a lot of freedom and expressive feelings when you paint. So I really enjoy it. And yeah, that's why I've been painting up to today. And yeah, so today I'll be showing you some of my previous works that I've done, mostly on my sketchbook.
I'm going to switch
so
to
I'll just do a flip through.
There we go. And we already have a question.
Yeah.
Sorry, Kerrilyn. We already have a question. Where are you from?
Yes.
Do you mind sharing that with us?
I'm from Malaysia.
Yay, Malaysia.
It's hot all year round here. That's why I love European sceneries. That's why I do a lot of Western sceneries. And then here there's one from Switzerland. And here I did a sunset painting, mostly very red theme. And some architecture that I've played around. I really enjoy painting on a sketchbook because I feel that I'm not starting from an empty piece of paper. So I'm not sure if anyone feels the same. I have the perfectionist character in me. So when I feel that there's an empty paper, I do not want to ruin that. But with painting on a sketchbook, everything is already ruined from the front pages. So there's not much of pressure on painting on a sketchbook. I find it very freeing. And this one is in Russia. And we have some cherry blossoms.
Oh, beautiful.
And you can see that you can play a lot with sketchbook and just be free and express your feelings in the painting. And this is one at the quay with all these boats in the sunset. And here I've done a very, very loose, expressive brush strokes.
One of our viewers says, that is so beautiful. You are so inspiring.
Thank you. This one is my favorite. This one is a flower market. So I really enjoyed painting all these florals and bringing the whole piece together. It sort of tells like a story
Absolutely.
of this
That's
lady,
so pretty.
like she's wearing a mask during pandemic. Yeah, it depends how the story speaks to you. Different people sees a different story behind every painting. So, and today we'll be painting this one.
Yay.
I'll be talking a lot more on how to make your painting looks less flat, because I have a lot of students who paint florals and they would say, why does it look flat? It doesn't have that depth in it. So we'll talk more about that, how to achieve and give an overall dimension to the whole painting. Yeah, and then this one is one that I did recently, also Cherry Blossom. This is a Korean storefront. As you can see from the roof, these are the Korean architecture.
It's
So yeah, lots of
beautiful.
way that you can play around and have fun on the sketchbook.
We are in for a treat tonight, aren't we, guys? Those are so beautiful.
And this is a sneak peek of our mini workshop coming up soon. This is what we'll be painting, something like that.
Awesome. And I already posted that link in the chat. It's never too early to go ahead and sign up for it.
And yeah, that's all.
That's so beautiful. Thank you for showing us. It's a good way to get started, get inspired by your beautiful artwork.
All right, so we will get started. And today I'll be using Etchress sketchbook. And this one is my first sketchbook that is full size A4. And I've already started painting on my first pages here. So I did some loose rose garden florals and another painting on the tulips farm in Netherlands. So I really like how the paper holds the amount of water. As you can see from this landscape painting, I've used a few layers of heavy washes and it holds pretty well. And even though after painting, the paper turns out flat in the end, not much warping. And okay, so let's start with our florals today. So I've already done a pencil sketch beforehand because I don't think we have enough time to include the whole pencil sketch live.
And that's actually provided in the reference photos. So I'm going to pop that link in the chat. And if you guys have not seen the sketch yet, it is available for you as well as the reference photo.
Yeah, so this is a reference photo that I found on Unsplash. So if you're looking for inspiration and not sure what to paint, especially now during the pandemic, it's not so convenient to go out. So places like Unsplash or Petals, they have tons of images that are free for us to use. And I found this on Unsplash. So we'll be using this reference photo today. And I'd like to talk a bit on how to find a good reference photo. So first of all, when looking for one, it needs to speak to you. So when scrolling, like sometimes I'll come through one photo that say, hey, Kerrilyn, this one looks beautiful. It looks awesome. You should paint this. So that's how I find my photos based on first instinct. And then next, what we like to look at is to see whether it has shadows, and can see that this one, it has very strong contrast of shadows here at the bottom, and then some shadows from the pot on the side. And then we can see it's very obvious that the direction of sunlight is coming from the right top. And with strong contrast, it creates a very nice overall painting with the shadows. And later on, I'll be showing you the difference before and after the addition of shadows, which brings the whole painting to the next level. And then if it's your first time starting out to paint, I would suggest instead of going big for a huge landscape, you could start small by painting objects that interest you. For example, like a simple flower pot, that would be a good place to start. And then usually before I go in straight into sketching out, I would do a thumbnail sketch. thumbnail sketch, basically just sketching out what you see in a picture and how you would like to rearrange the items. For example, here we have this pot in the background, so I like to remove that because I think that's not necessary. So I remove that, and then we have some door at the back. So these are all not important information. And what I've chosen to keep is just these two pots and some grass at the bottom. So with a thumbnail sketch, you are able to pre-plan your painting before you start. And I'll talk a lot more about that during the mini workshop. And then after we're done with the thumbnail sketch, we'll go in straight with the color palette. And then you'll be able to plan what kind of colors you like to use. For example, here I'm seeing a lot of warm colors from the sun, so I incorporate more warm colors like yellow and orange. And it depends on your mood at that point of time, whether you're feeling cold or you're feeling more warm and fuzzy, like right now it's summer. So I like to do more orange or like more blue. So it's up to you how you want to play around and personalize it to your own style. And after choosing your own color palette, and we are ready to do the pencil sketch and start painting. So what I've just shared is just my process of planning before I start each painting. And a lot of people like to just skip the planning stage and jump straight into painting. But if you're looking to do a proper painting that doesn't get messed up in the end, it's good to have a planning beforehand. So I'll just put this aside.
So the thumbnail is kind of like a chance for you to plan out your colors and all that before you commit to it?
Yes. So just to give you an example, this is something that we'll be doing in the mini workshop. So this is the full landscape painting, and for thumbnail sketch would be something small like this, a small thumbnail sketch of how you'd like to plan your landscapes, and then just a quick painting to show how it looked like. So this is like maybe 5 to 10 minutes, 5 minutes even, thumbnail sketch before you go large.
That's a great idea. Like practice makes perfect, right?
Yeah. Okay, so we will start with going straight into the flowers. And then I'll be using a size 6 brush, a small one, because the size that we are painting today is A5 size. So it depends on what size you're looking at. If you're painting a larger A4 size, feel free to go for a bigger brush. And we have some pink florals, so I'm going to get some pink paints. And I think this one I'm using alizarin crimson. Very nice pink hue.
And you said that one is alizarin crimson?
Yeah.
Are you adding anything to it?
I am just adding water to make it more watery. So for the florals, I usually like to start light and watery and then slowly add more pigments to build in depth. So I'm going to start maybe with the center flower around here. And I'll start off with the petals, and then we are doing a very loose, expressive floral, so it doesn't need to be very detailed. And we look at how the petals go and just paint according to that direction. So you can see that I have a pool here. I'm going to dry my brush and then just remove excess water. And then going in, I'm going to add more paints to build up and make it darker. And I'm going to have it darker in the center.
Do you ever use permanent alizarin as well?
Sorry?
One of our viewers was wondering if you use permanent alizarin as well for the pink color.
I am not sure. I think this is alizarin crimson from Winsor & Newton. I'm not sure if it's the word permanent. in it. I'll have to check. So I really like this because it has a very nice pink hue.
Yeah, it's
and
very
then
beautiful.
the one underneath, it's a lighter shade. So to give it a very nice variety, I like to go in some with lighter shade and some darker shades.
And by lighter and darker, how do you do that?
With more water. With more water, you get a lighter shade.
Ah.
So I'm just going in and paint in all the petals quickly. And then here, maybe I'll add a bit of yellow, give that bit of pop. And I'm allowing it to bleed into the pinks.
So is the yellow in the more of the center?
Yep.
Are you rinsing your brush off at all in between?
Yes, I am. Because I'm going for a lighter shade, so I rinse off the more pigmented wash and then go in with a lighter wash. And then the thing is with florals, I'm having it in facing different directions. Some is facing upwards, some is facing upwards, some is facing direct at your face, some facing down. So that will give a nice composition. So at the same time, also I am keeping in mind where the direction of the light is coming from. So we have the light coming from the top right. So I have it darker on this side.
So you're kind of paying attention to all those little details also.
Yep.
And
now, yep.
Are you using the tip of your brush for the petals, or?
Yes.
So kind of
just the very tip. And then now I'm going in with sap green. And because we have a lot of muted colors here, I'm going to mix my sap green with a bit of yellow ochre that would mute the color down a little bit and make it more natural. And I feel that this is a bit too warm, and I'm going to add in a bit of neutral tint. And while this is still wet, I'm going in to just connect the stems. And allow them to bleed a little.
So is there a good amount of water in this color as well?
Yes. So not to worry too much about how the greens will look. Just cover it and make it as dark as possible, and I'll keep darkening that later, but let's keep going with the flowers. So when it comes to painting flowers as well, it's good to have 2 cups of water, one for cool color and one for warmer colors. So basically one for the florals and one for the greens, because if you mix both, you get quickly you get muddy colors. So I like to have 2 cups of water to wash them separately.
That's a good idea. All the tips and tricks to keep your colors bright and vibrant.
And to change things up a little, I'm going to add a bit of red.
And if you guys are following along with us today, don't forget you can share your work with us, hashtag #EtYourStudio. We love to see your work and see how it came out, how you guys did. Show us your setup if you'd like. It's always fun to see how you set up and your painting. And I'm also going to post Kerrilyn's Instagram in here so you can check out her work and keep up with her.
And another tip that I like to do is I'll usually have one brush holding the reds, and then I'll have another smaller brush, but I'll just use this one, another brush to hold the greens. So then I can swap in between the two colors quickly without having to wash it off every time. And that would save a lot of time as well.
That's a good idea too. So you're kind of like each hand has a paintbrush ready to go.
Yep. Because I want that bleed going on between the petals and the stems.
I guess that is a good trick to help you keep the water consistent, right, with the paint?
Yeah.
Did you add a little bit of a darker shade to this color?
To which color?
The green?
Yeah, I added a little bit of neutral tint. So neutral tint is like a really dark blue, grayish blue color. And I usually add it to my colors to darken it. Like for green, I'll add neutral tint to give it a dark green.
And there's a question from one of our viewers. Is that a silver black velvet brush, or what kind of brush are you using?
Yeah, it's a silver black velvet brush.
Ah, she got it. Nice job.
You can see I have the flowers coming facing, this one is going facing upwards. And then let's pop in some yellow.
So is the yellow for the flowers that are more facing towards you?
Not really, just by random.
Just random. Okay. Keeping it random. I like that.
Mix things up.
Yeah, exactly.
This is more like, it's not like an arranged bouquet of flowers. It's like a pot of flowers that grows in the wild on its own. So yeah, everything is really random and messy. Doesn't need to be very neat and arranged.
And Kerrilyn, just so you know, we just passed our 20-minute mark, just so you're in the loop.
Okay.
Already looking so beautiful. I hope you guys are enjoying everything this evening as well. Or it's evening for me, but morning for Kerrilyn. So whatever it is for you. Someone said, those are yummy brushes.
Yeah, it is.
So we also have a really cool thing going on this summer that Kerrilyn, I'm just going to sneak in real quick and talk about. We are doing 40% off art materials when you use the code EtYourSummer21 on chartpackstore.com. I'll post all of that in the chat, but it's kind of a special thing. We've teamed up with Grumbacher Art, and we're doing like special little sweepstake with them this summer. So I'm going to post that in the chat if you guys are interested in checking that out. We are paired up with them, and we're selling a few of their items as well. All the little arts I love, right? We all, if you're anything like me, I love art supplies, so I'm like buying up everything.
So we are almost done with the flowers. And then towards the top, I'm going to keep, so we have more greens at the bottom, and as we go upwards, I'm going to keep it light and leaving out more white spaces in between. And the same goes for the petals as well. When painting in between, make sure to leave some gaps.
Do you think we could zoom in a little bit for that to see that part? Perfect. Right there. Yeah, I think that's a little bit better. Yeah. Thank you.
No worries.
It's so beautiful already.
Thank you. And you can see that even though there's no yellow in the reference photo, I just popped yellow in. And yeah, if you're painting, you could even use your own colors, your favorite colors of flowers, instead of strictly following the reference photo. Okay, so I think I've painted in all the florals, and I will fill the other spaces with the greens. And if you look at the reference photo, we have the darkest area would be around the deep in the pot in this area. So I have this really, really dark. So it's important to look at the overall photo and see where's your darkest areas and where's your light highlights. So should I zoom back out, or is this okay?
If you want to, I think this is okay, actually. We can see the painting pretty clearly. If you guys want to see the palette, let me know in the chat if you can see everything. We can always zoom back out for a bigger picture. Let us know what you guys think. It is really nice that you're showing us the reference photo as well. It's always good to see like where you're coming from, right?
Okay, I'll just put this here. So here it's really dark. I will darken this area more. And then mix it up with sap green.
And is there more pigment in the color that you're using now? Or is it just a
Yes.
darker shade?
This one I'm using only neutral tint, just to darken certain areas.
Create that deep shadow. It looks so good. It makes the pinks pop right out.
Yeah. And not to worry if it's really dark at the bottom. Later, we will bring back some of the highlights in those areas. Most importantly is right now to go as dark as possible, because that will give a very nice contrast. Like Anna said, it makes the flowers pop up more. Okay, so I'm just looking at the overall composition and see where are the places that I need more greens, where it feels a bit empty. And I'll start to go with a lighter shade of green. And I'll switch over to a smaller brush. And then here I'm painting in some blood greens. And to mix a little bit of the background, right now I'll take just water in my brush and then just gently wet the background. And then just we'll create these really soft greens at the back. And I think I'll add a little bit of blue. So light blue.
Oh, that looks so cool. And are you using a bit more water on your brush?
Yep.
Kind of blend it.
So by pre-wetting it and then applying the paints, it's able to blend in the different colors, is able to blend in nicely.
It's like that in photography, you have that bouquet effect where everything gets blurry in the background.
Yeah.
It's very cool. I haven't thought of doing that in watercolor.
All right, and then I'm going to do some splatters. So I'm grabbing the same pink and then just drop it in like that.
I have some comments coming in about how much everyone is loving this and how much fun they have painting along. So don't forget to share your work. And I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. Oh, we have some splatters. Woo! We're having a little fun over here tonight.
Floral party. So here I feel that there's not enough detail, so it needs to be darker. So I'm going in to add more. And yeah, so when painting florals, it's always about looking at your composition from time to time. And then adding more details, layering up bit by bit. And I would say the most, maybe slightly more challenging part of painting this is not about painting the florals, but it's about filling up the white spaces with more darker hues, like shadows. Because a lot of people tend to be afraid to go in with dark colors. They're afraid that it might ruin the painting. So yeah, this is all about experiment and having fun.
Yeah, that can definitely be intimidating, right?
Yeah.
I think that it's neat that you're talking about the sketchbook as well, because so many things like stop you from doing art when in all reality it's just having fun and trying your best, right?
Yep. So you can see that after I darken this area, it looks better and not so empty.
And you're kind of going back in with the same colors you used for the florals and kind of touching here and there.
Yep. Okay, and then you can see that some of the flowers looks pretty flat. And I'm going to start adding in the second layer for the flowers by adding the shadows.
Is that the same color?
Same color with lesser water, more pigments. This will help to define a little more the shape of the petals.
Yeah, absolutely. You can already tell just one stroke and you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it stands out more. And I'll add more yellow. Same yellow. And maybe I'll mix in a little bit of orange. I have a bright orange. So this is my favorite color, especially for florals, because it helps to make the painting pop even more. And the reason I'm adding a little orange to the flowers is because the pot will have the orange hue in it, and I want to integrate the two subjects together. And by having orange as well in the flowers will combine the whole painting together as one. So we'll see later when we start painting the pots. Okay, let's leave that for now, and we will start with the pot. And I'm going with a bigger brush, size 8. And we'll start off with yellow ochre. And let's just paint in. So you can see that my paints is starting to look a little muddy. So be sure to get fresh water.
So you can sometimes, if you feel like it's getting muddy, you can clean your water out.
Yeah.
That's a good tip. Sometimes I get too lazy to get up and do it.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a good idea. Keep it fresh. And are you kind of like creating a wash right now?
Yes, this will be our first layer. And then I'm going in with some burnt sienna and a little bit of burnt umber.
Such good pot colors. Such a good
And then we'll start by adding some shadows. And then blend this out.
When you blend, I heard a little swish in the water. You're kind of just taking a clean brush again to it.
I wanted to prevent the paints from going to the top. So I washed off my brush and with a clean brush, just lifting out the paints so it doesn't go up but stays below the line.
Great tip. Kerrilyn, we are getting right at our 40-minute mark. Just so you know.
Gotta speed up.
And I'm just going to pop in for a second and tell you guys about something else we have really cool going on right now. It started today. It's basically a give $10, get $10 program. So you can check out this, click on this link to find out more about that. But it's a give 10, get 10. So if you have somebody else get something from Etcher, or you can get $10 back and spend some Etcher bucks yourself. So that's a really nice program we're running just for the next few days. So Tuesday through Thursday, I believe it is. We got all the things today.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to pop in that mini workshop link one more time as well. That's a good way to get some more of these beautiful florals. And if you missed it, we will come back and show you what the plan is for the mini workshop, but that is on August 6th. And Kerrilyn has an awesome landscape floral kind of painting we're going to be working on then. It's going to be awesome. I see you're using like the tip of your brush for those little details.
Yep. Just painting out the details of the pot. And then by adding every layer, I keep adding more darker brown. I'm using sepia. Just keep darkening this area.
I love how there's like no boundaries on the side. It looks so cool. Like it's kind of just blending right in.
Yeah.
Is that a little bit of a darker shade you're using there?
Yep. I'm using sepia.
So layer, 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 huh?
Yes.
Did you have to wait for that to dry at all, or is it okay to go in?
I had to wait for it to dry a little so it doesn't, if it's too wet, it will just bloom out like what we have here. So I didn't want it to bloom too much, but still bloom a little bit, blend a little bit. So I gave it like maybe 10 seconds before painting. It depends how wet the area is as well. Okay. And let's add a little bit of contouring here.
And I'm going to pop our survey into the chat, guys. If you would like to take a minute, just fill that out for us. We'd love to hear from you and how we are doing this evening or morning. I always do that. So you're just adding that shadow to the lip of the jar?
Yep. Okay, and right now I'm done with the base of the pots, and then we're going into paint in these darker shadows. So for this one, I'm going to use purple for the shadows. So purple is a very nice hue to add. I'm going to mix purple with a little bit of brown.
Any brown in particular? Just it?
With yellow ochre.
Ah.
Just to blend in the colors from the pot.
So like the base of the pot mixed in to create that shadow look?
Yeah.
I love purple. I'm excited.
And I'm going to make it really watery and then slowly build up the intensity. So let's start with here. And then we have a bit of the curve coming down this area. So you can see now that I've started to add the shadows. It brings a whole dimension, brings shape into the pot. And blend it out a little bit. And then let's do the same for the second one.
Can you tell us the colors you used for the shadows again?
I'm using, can't remember which purple, but any purple will do. Mixing purple with a bit of, just a tiny bit of yellow ochre. And you can see this one, I have more purple instead of yellow ochre.
Awesome,
So
thank you.
purple gives a very nice, mysterious look to the shadows. And then you can see here that this too looks like a flat area. So I'm going to again darken that area. I'm going to take a little bit of neutral tint, again, neutral tint for my shadows and mixing it with the purple.
So shadows are all about the layering too. You just gotta keep going with the layers.
Yep.
It looks really good with that, the yellow ochre pot. That purple really looks nice with that.
Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to leave this dry a little more because it is still too wet. And keep building up these shadows. Let's do the other one here. The reason why we slowly build up shadows because sometimes if it gets too dark, the shadow will look funny. So I usually like to build them up slowly and see how it looks, whether to go darker or it's enough.
So you can kind of slowly build and decide if you want to add more as you go.
Yep. And I'm also going to add the same purple to the details, just bringing in the colors together.
It almost looks like you're drawing when you do it, those little details. Is that a good way to approach it?
Yeah, actually, I'm going to switch over to a synthetic brush. So for details, it's good to use, easier to use a synthetic brush because it's firm and gives better control. So I'm going to use this one I'm using from Grumbuckle's synthetic brush. Has a very nice sharp tip at the end. So I'm going to use that to do the details.
And that's part of our special 40% off your art materials on the chartpackstore.com, where you can get one of those Grumbacher brushes. I'll post that link again for you guys to check that out. You use the code EtcherSummer21.
How much time do we have left?
We have just hit our 10-minute mark. We have 10 minutes.
Okay, let's finish this up real quick.
We can start going into our Q&A too, guys. If anybody has any questions, you can start typing them in the chat and we will start asking questions for the last 5 minutes of our demo today. So if you have anything on your mind that maybe we haven't answered yet, feel free to type those in the chat. Man, it looks amazing. I love seeing it all come together towards the end. It's so fun.
Thank you. Okay, and then I'll finish off with the grassy area at the bottom. So I'm going in with the same green.
I like that little texture on the bottom there too.
Yeah, so it's good to have a mixture of dry brush for some contrast with the florals. And I'll use the synthetic brush for the final lines. And just splattering in some water.
So are these like the last details you're adding in, going back in with shadows?
Yeah, so I'm just looking at areas that needs more cast. And we'll just complete this last one here. Using neutral tint with purple.
There's a question that's really fun. How do you motivate yourself to show up at the table every day and start painting?
Because this is my full-time job, so I have no choice. But yeah, think about, instead of a task, think of it as your hobby time or your me time, where you get to just love yourself and have fun painting, instead of thinking it as a chore or as a task that I need to practice every day. Think of it as a hobby time or me time, and just enjoy and don't put pressure on yourself. Whatever the results is more about the process and not the results. And yeah, so I think I'm done with this. I'm going to do some final details. So I'll just take a white ink pen. And this is where we bring back the highlights of the stem.
Can't forget those highlights.
So which is why I mentioned earlier to go as dark as possible. Then when we apply these white lines, it will stand out even more.
Yeah, look at that. Woo. There's another question. Is it good for the shadow colors to always use purple or blue?
It depends on what kind of mood you're going for. For example, this one, I'm going for a very warm finish, so I added purple. But if you're going for a more cool environment, more cool atmosphere, you can use blue as well. That's a very good question. So yeah, it depends what you're feeling like and what's your painting style, whether you're a purple person or you're a blue person. And I find it interesting because purple gives a really mysterious look to the painting instead of the usual blue.
Are you saying you're a purple person?
Depends on my mood, I guess.
I can agree. I'm a purple person too. And what was the name of the color that you were using for the bluish tone, the neutral color?
Neutral tint.
Neutral tint. Thank you.
It looks like this. Just swap it up. Like this is my default color that I have on my palette. So if I want green, a dark green, I'll just mix sap green and I'll get a dark green. If I want a dark red or like purple, I'll just mix red in and it gives a very nice purple.
That's cool. Neutral tint.
And if I like to add shadows, I'll just use a very light wash of neutral tint, like what I did earlier. I used neutral tint, very light wash, and then just lay it on top. And then it will give a nice natural shadow. All right, last part, I'm going to add more splatters.
Paint party, is that what you said earlier? Paint party? Splatter party? Something like that. We're back to the splatter party. And there was a question earlier. Let's see if I can find it really quick. Do you ever use gouache on top of the watercolor in your paintings? Is that something you've done before?
Yes, I do that as well. If I'm going for like, if I like to paint lines, squiggly lines, like less fine line like this, I'll use gouache. With gouache, I'm able to use my brush to create lines that are more, how do you say, more artistic lines, I guess. Instead of pen, if you use a pen, the lines turn out more fine. Maybe I would say more artificial.
So it depends on what that feeling you're going for towards the end?
Yeah. Yep.
Good point. Great questions tonight. Thank you, guys. And I'm just going to go ahead and pop in a few links for you guys. Kerrilyn, will you show us the mini workshop painting again? The mini workshop is on August 6th. And if you really loved this, please join in for that mini workshop.
We'll be painting this.
Beautiful. Perfect.
So we'll be doing, instead of individual flowers like this, be more of a bunch of flowers, more abstract. And then we have the ocean and a lot of shadows here as well. So painting shadows and how to create contrast and depth as well in the painting.
That's beautiful. Yeah, so sign up for that. It's on August 6th. I'm also just going to post our survey in the chat. We'd love to hear from you guys. We share our surveys with the artists so they can see how they did as well. It's just really nice to hear what you guys are thinking of the demos. And I'm going to put Kerrilyn's Instagram in there because support the arts, right? Follow the artist, support Kerrilyn. She did such an awesome job for us tonight. Kerrilyn, this is the part where I like to put you on the spot and say, how would you like to finish our demo tonight? Any last words for us?
All right. Yep.
Beautiful. Anything you want to wrap us up with or say for our finish tonight?
So if you join in the mini workshop, I will elaborate more on my painting process, on how do you plan a painting from start to the end. And as we mentioned earlier, I'll be sharing more on how to create thumbnail sketches for your painting to plan out your landscapes. And also a lot more on how to paint floral landscapes because it's summer right now. And yeah, basically showing you how to create your own color palette and what colors to mix that will go harmonious with each other and mix a color that suits your mood. And as I shown earlier here, how do you know what colors to match with? And the colors for the sea, as you can see, I've used a blend of few colors. So a lot on color palette. And with this color palette is also interesting because everyone has their own personal choice. And from there, this is how you can personalize your own painting to your own style with the colors you choose. So we'll be talking a lot more on that during the mini workshop. Yeah, and that's all I have for today. Thank you very much for joining in, guys.
Thank you, guys. I'm going to post the reference photo one more time. I see that as a quick question, but thank you all for being here this day, this evening, morning, wherever you are. And Kerrilyn, thank you so much for spending the time.
Thank you so much, Anna.
Such a beautiful artwork and lovely to do this with you today. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful night.
Thank you.
I'm just going to spotlight your artwork one more time. Ta-da! Have a great night, everyone, or day. Thank you.